Hi and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Fendi. Today I'm going to be making Diri Kole ak Pwa Wouj, also known as red beans and rice, so stay tuned. Oil, seasoned salt of your choice, yellow rice, I'm using about 4 cups, onions, red beans, epis, or we call it Haitian spice, salt to taste, parsley, habanero pepper, 1 just poked with a few cloves, and 1 Maggi cube. Okay guys, let's get started. So first I'm going to start by boiling the beans. I'm going to put 4 cups of water to boil. Okay, I'm going to add additional 4 cups when we're starting to boil the rice because I'm doing 4 cups of rice all together. So it's like a 2-to-1 ratio. If you have 4 cups of rice, you want 8 cups of water to boil it. Okay, sometimes it's 3 cups of rice, 6 cups of water. I know you know the gist of it. Then I'm going to add my beans. Okay, they're already washed already. And I'm going to add my oil, just a little bit so that they don't stick together. Just a little bit, not too much. And we're gonna put this on, medium to low heat, well, medium to high heat, because we want this to boil. It's gonna take about like 40 to 45 minutes to cook. And what we're gonna do is, when it's finished boiling, we're gonna use the same water to make the color in our rice. So we're gonna let this boil. These beans are very beautiful. You can get them at any supermarket. This is the Goya red beans, okay? Sometimes they call them kidney beans, but any red bean would do for this recipe, okay? So we're gonna let this boil and then we'll come back. So now that my beans are boiled, I'm just gonna turn off the fire, okay? And just make sure that you don't burn yourself. You wanna take a glove or you wanna take a kitchen cloth, and we're gonna transfer this over because we're gonna separate the beans from the water, okay? So I'm going to the sink and I have a sieve ready. And we're gonna just catch the beans in the sieve. Yep, it's a lot of beans. Okay, and I'm gonna put this back on the stove. Give me a second. All right, so then I'm gonna take the beans out. All right, and now we're gonna use this water to make our rice. We may have to add more water because we're gonna be using 4 cups of rice. So the next step I'm gonna do is I'm going to start with the epis and we're gonna fry the beans, and that's how we're gonna start the rice, make it taste really good, okay? So stay tuned. So now we're ready to start our rice. I'm first gonna start by putting some oil into the pan, into the pot. Okay. And then I'm gonna add my onions. We just wanna saute this, just to get it working. We're gonna cook it. Okay. Then we're gonna add our epis. Okay. Well, these colors look really good. Okay. I'm gonna get my beans. Now I know it looks like a lot of beans, but I'm cooking for a lot of people. Okay, we're gonna mix that. Got burned there. You guys want to be careful with that. Yep. Look at all these beautiful beans. I'm going to add my Maggi in there. I had a little bit of onion left. Let me just add that in there. Okay, and we're going to add our Maggi. Make sure that you crush this. I'm going to add a little salt. We're going to fry these beans a little bit before we add the bean water, okay? You want to sweat them out. You want to get that smell out, and already it's smelling really good. Okay. Okay, I'm going to let it cook for about a minute or two. This recipe is one of my family's favorite, even my fiance's favorite. He always says, oh, I like Diri Kole at Pwa Wouj. Even though he's Ghanaian, he likes Haitian food, which is a good thing. Yeah. Maybe one day I'm going to make that like African rice, jollof rice. Stay tuned. So our beans are a little bit fried, which is good. I'm going to let it cook just a little bit more. Smells so good. Okay. I'm going to add some of my lawyer salt. This is seasoned salt, but you can add the type you want. Look at all these beautiful colors. This is what you want your beans to look like, you know? Nice and red. You know when your beans are cooked, like when you press them and they mush. If they don't mush in your hand, they're not cooked. So you want to make sure that you cook them. Some beans, they take about 40 to an hour to cook. So as you're cooking them, make sure that you're checking on your beans. If you have to add more water, add more water, sometimes a cup of water, because as it boils, the water will evaporate and you don't want your beans to burn, okay? So feel free to, you know, add more water and just check on your beans. Again, every bean cooks differently. This actually took me about an hour to boil. I thought it was going to take me 40 minutes, but the black beans, I feel like they cook quicker. I might be wrong depending on what the type of beans you get. All right, so now I'm going to add my bean water. And I'm going to have to add more water, obviously. In addition to this, I'm going to add 4 cups of water. So I originally started with about 6 cups of bean water and it evaporated. So now I'm going to add additional 4. So, okay, give that a stir. So essentially what you want is 8 cups of water to cook 4 cups of rice, all in all, okay? So because the bean water can sometimes evaporate, you just have to keep adding water so you have some for your rice. All right, so I'm gonna add my habanero pepper. I poked it with some cloves. I'm gonna add a bundle of parsley. I love parsley. It makes all my rice taste good. It's one of my family, you know, I'm not saying tips, whatever, but it's something that we do. We add parsley and it makes our rice taste good. You don't have to, but trust me, it tastes really good. Okay, so we're gonna let this boil, and then after it boils, I'm going to taste it. Let me just give it a little stir. When it boils, I'm going to taste it, and then I'm going to add my washed rice, okay? So in order to increase in order to make it boil faster, I'm going to cover it for a bit and then we'll come back. So now that my water is boiled, I'm going to taste it, okay? Very good, perfect. Now we're going to add our washed rice. I usually rinse it in water about 2 times just to get the starch out. Okay, and we're just gonna pour it in. Just make sure you don't make a mess. Again, when you're cooking rice, let the water boil and then taste it to see if it needs more salt, okay? Don't wait till the rice is cooked and then you're gonna add salt because it's gonna be a disaster, trust me. Okay, that's about most of the rice. Then I'm going to add, I'm gonna take my spoon and I'm going to give it a good stir. Okay, you can add butter at this time if you want to, but that's not necessary. It still tastes good, especially if you're like health conscious. You don't really have to add butter, but if you want to, it's up to you. So now we're going to let this cook for about 30 minutes. In 30 minutes, the water should evaporate. And then we're going to lower the fire after that 30 minutes so that it can cook for an extra 30 minutes so the rice is fully cooked. So for about an hour, this rice will have to cook, okay? So I'm going to cover it so that I can expedite the process. And we'll take it from there after 30 minutes. And I'll see you soon. Okay, guys, so I know I said let this cook for about 30 minutes and then an additional 30 minutes. I meant to say, let me lower the fire. Let it cook first until the water evaporates, then lower the fire. So as long as the water evaporates, then you can lower the fire and cover it. That's what I meant to say. Sorry about that. So now that the water is evaporated, I'm just going to turn the rice over. This is optional, but I don't want my rice sticking on the bottom. So just turning it over, you know, work around the parsley if you have to. It smells really good, guys. You can take a look inside. It's really nice. All these nice colors here. Okay, I don't want it to stick on the bottom. I'm gonna lower my fire to low. Depending on the setting of your stove, it'll be low. Okay, don't want to make a mess there. I'm gonna leave the parsley in there. But you guys can agree this looks really good, and no, you can't smell it, but it smells really good as well. But it still needs to be cooked, so I'm going to cover this, and I already lowered the fire. And definitely check this back in 30 minutes tops for the finished product. Guys, so our rice is finished, so let's look at what we have. Wow, this looks amazing. It smells so good. I'm just gonna turn off the fire. It was on low. Okay, I'm just gonna take out the parsley. We obviously don't need it anymore. And if you want, you can also take out the pimo or the habanero pepper, just so that you don't bite in that. That would not be good. Yeah. All right. So that's all for that. I think we got a few more. Let's try to take them out. Not a big deal. You can always, you know, sift it out of your plate if you get it. So I'm just gonna give it a good stir. But this is pretty much what it looks like. I like when my rice is not too mushy. I like it grainy. So it's always important to add the right amount of water. Okay, again, if you're doing 4 cups of rice, make sure you put 8 cups of water, okay? The 1 to 2 or 2 to 1 ratio. Okay, and that's about it. This is Diri Kole at Pwa Wouj, also known as Haitian rice and red beans. So that completes our show today. If you want me to, you know, do a recipe of your choice, please feel free to comment below, subscribe, and don't worry, all these ingredients will be listed specifically below with every measurement. And on that note, I'll see you next time. Bye.